On today's episode, the Wizards fall to 1-5 in the regular season. What went wrong in today's ugly loss against Orlando Magic? All that and more next on Locked On Wizards.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Sorry if that's pretty loud, guys. DC family. Hard to be optimistic after that one, am I right? Hello all, and welcome back to another episode of Locked On Wizards. I'm Abdullah Ayubi, credentialed media member of the Washington Wizards and host of the DMV Sports Zone page on Instagram. Unfortunately, my co-host Ben Schrober was out today. He was at the Maryland-Indiana game, and boy, that was rough. I'm sorry about that, Ben. I know you're out there watching this. I think they lost by like 40-plus points. And it also doesn't help that our DC beloved team lost tonight as well by 30-plus. Thanks for making Locked On Wizards your first listen every day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And remember, Locked On Wizards is free and available on all platforms, including YouTube at Locked On Wizards, where the best way to help us grow is to comment anything below. And today's question is, what are your thoughts on the Wiz Kids after 6 games? Today's episode is also brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. Guys, I can't sugarcoat it. Tonight was rough. It was really, really bad. And the first quarter, it wasn't like that. It actually looked great. It's games like this where it's just, it makes me wonder, will this be the theme for the rest of the season for our Wiz Kids? And if I'm looking at the box score right now, that first quarter, the Wizards outscored the Magic. They were leading 35-32. But in the second quarter, Orlando scored 43. Paolo Banchero was getting going. And the thing was, this Orlando Magic team was 2-4 going into this game. So, to be quite honest, I understand they have great talent on that team. But this Magic team looked at this Wizards team tonight and said, hey, this is the get-right game. This is the game where we're going to go out there and bully this team. And to me, I was scratching my head when I saw Paolo Banchero being guarded by Chris Middleton. No disrespect to Chris. We love him, what he does here in Washington. But if you have a young Bilal Coulibaly, why not have him guard Paolo? I mean, Paolo Banchero, I understand Franz Wagner is a very good player on that Magic squad, but Paolo Banchero is the guy scoring on that team right now. I mean, he finished with, if I'm looking at it correctly, 28 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 blocks. And he was just going at it. I mean, Franz Wagner had 25, 6 and 6 and 3 steals, but I just, maybe send a double team. You got to do something. It's frustrating. It really is. And tonight, the starting lineup, it was like the Oklahoma City Thunder game. Bilal is back and Bub was moved to 6-man. The lack of ball movement was apparent after the first quarter. I thought after the first quarter, this team can somewhat compete in this game. But Orlando was just taking advantage of any opportunity they got. And if I'm looking at it right now, the Wizards shot 39.8% from the field goal range. Orlando shot 51.1%. Wizards also missed 8 free throws, so that doesn't help, but you did lose by 30-plus points. Turnover margin, Washington had more turnovers than Orlando by 2. Rebounding, Orlando rebounded you. Assist-wise, Orlando wasn't moving the ball. Orlando had 10 blocks to Washington's 9. And just in general, the steals, they were just hands in the passing lane. A lot of reasons why this Orlando Magic team won today. And it begs the question, is this Washington Wizards team built to compete? I'm not saying compete and make the playoffs or make the play-in, for crying out loud. I'm saying, can you go every game and expecting you to at least be in the game within the fourth quarter? That wasn't the thing. I mean, that wasn't the thing tonight for Washington. And I thought this team would find a way to bounce back, especially after that. I mean, look at the last game against the Thunder. This team was in it within. They were going back and forth with the defending champs, and that third quarter late, they brought it within 2, and in the fourth quarter, the collapse happened, and there was lack of ball movement. And I thought maybe you have a good chance of bouncing back. Keyshawn George had 10 points early on for this Wizards squad. I think he had the first 6. And one thing that we're starting to see from Keyshawn, and I hate to admit it because I love the year 2 kid from Miami, is the foul trouble that he has been dealing with this season. I think today he had 4 personal fouls, if I'm not mistaken. No, sorry, 5. So it's hard for your best player to go out there and compete on both ends of the floor if he's worried about being in foul trouble. So I don't know if that's just how Keyshawn is, because he's just a great defender, or rather an aggressive defender. But if this is a common theme throughout the season, us Wizards fans need to say, "Hey, this is trouble. Like, we're not gonna. This is how we're gonna compete in games when Keyshawn George, who just dropped 34 not too long ago against the Dallas Mavericks, is not gonna be able to play in games, especially when he does it on both ends of the floor." So overall, tonight for the Wizards, it was just after that first quarter, I understand if you turn the TV off after that first quarter, because after that second quarter or the third quarter, because like, again, the lack of ball movement. Trey, I think he had 10 plus points tonight, but just no one was really efficient for this Wizards squad. Bilal had 10, Alex Sarr had 10. Alex did have 3 blocks, which is nice to see. Keyshawn, like I mentioned, was the leading scorer with 17. Cam Whitmore had 8 points. Bub with 7. Chris and Trey, Trey didn't even hit 10 points. Sorry, he finished with 7. I don't know what I'm looking at right now. The main theme that I wanted to get at was, why was Chris Middleton guarding Paolo Banchero when clearly it just was a mismatch? Send someone, do something different. I just don't understand it at all whatsoever. And I bring up the whole identity crisis topic because this Wizard squad, going into this year, Brian Keefe was telling us that this team is going to compete. This team is going to be able to run the floor with any team in the NBA. And there's just... I don't know. I don't want this to be the theme of the season. I don't want to see last season like last season where they had 2 double-digit game losing streaks. It's just no Wizards fan wants to watch that, because me and Ben, as much as we love this team, we're telling you guys to be patient, trust the process. But it's games like this where it's like you're getting blown out by an Orlando Magic team that's 2-4, well, not 3-4, or whatever the record is. They're not an elite team, and it's rough. It really is rough. And at times, the veterans, CJ McCollum and Chris Middleton, there was that time where CJ McCollum got blocked twice on back-to-back possessions, and at some point, as a vet, it's like, let me swing it, and this is year 3 of this rebuild. And to be quite honest, if there wasn't this idea of this top 8 protected pick that we're so coveted about, and this whole franchise, and these fans that are saying that, like Ben and I are like, let's be patient, this team's not going to compete this year, we want to keep our top 8 pick, maybe a potential pick swap with Phoenix. If that wasn't the discussion at hand, would we feel the same about this Wizards season right now? This is year 3 of this rebuild. And I understand, like, this regime is different. Will Dawkins, Michael Winger, what they're trying to emulate is we're not cutting corners. Will Dawkins talked about it in the summer league, where he reiterated many times that this team is still a little too far from being a playoff team, or isn't there yet. I'll say that in better terms. But the ability just to get blown out, and at home, let's be real, guys. At home, this Wizards squad, or the Wizards fan base in Capital One, it's not there. When I went to the Sixers game, a lot of Sixers fans, Philly fans, they travel well, but if you want to see this team have a crowded home crowd, you have to go out there and compete. I can't say it any more simpler. And it just, from what I saw from my TV, there wasn't a lot of fans in the stands. I'm hoping that changes soon. We'll have to see. But it's disappointing. It really is. 30 plus points you lose to this Orlando Magic team. And Paolo Banchero, the get right game. That's what this team is. The get right game. The get right team. If your team is going through a slump, they were eating in the paint. The center, I don't even know how to pronounce his name because I didn't know much about him. But Goga Bitadze, if that's how you pronounce his name. He had 15 points and 6 rebounds. It's just, what can you expect from this Wizards squad? And then you're going up against New York. Like these next couple of games, like, I was going into the season thinking, like, which game were we going to win first? So I was shocked they upset Dallas, but the group stage is coming up. You got New York, Boston, Cleveland, Dallas again, Detroit, Houston, Brooklyn is probably that game where it's hard to judge this Wizards team and say be optimistic, because it's not the fact that you're 1-5. It's the lack of competitiveness in these games. At one point, you were hoping to give Philadelphia their first loss of the season. You're up 15 with 5 minutes left, and you find a way to blow the game. That's like Chris Middleton, TJ McCollum, who have this high basketball IQ that a lot of people are talking about around the league. But when their shot's not falling, when they're getting blocked at the rim multiple times in crunch time, when you have a wide open Keyshawn, I know I'm reminiscing, talking about a game that happened a couple days ago, but when you have a wide open Keyshawn George in the corner and you take a fadeaway mid-range shot, like, what are we doing there? So, sorry about the rant, guys. It's just, I want to see this Wizards team compete. I love the Washington Wizards. I love DC sports. And it's funny because a lot of my friends, they tell me, why do you support a team, or how are you a Wizards fan? And it's like, they don't know about the glory days. And it's crazy because those glory days, this team didn't even make the the Eastern Conference Finals. It was just making the playoffs every day and getting booed out the second round. But it was fun. Verizon Center at the time, it was bumping. But Ned, here's my thing. And shout out to you, Ned. Thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing to the Locked On Wizards channel. I'm not saying you should beat Orlando, but you have to be competitive, because this Orlando Magic team is also young. Paolo Banchero, I think, is a year younger than me, or 1 year, the same age as me, or a couple months younger than me, or whatever. You don't have to go into every game and beat that team, but be competitive. That C word that we're always Ben and I are always talking about every single game. You need to be competitive. In that first quarter, it was that. But after that, I don't know what Wizards team I was watching. We'll take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about more about this loss here on Locked On Wizards. Your ambition just met its match. With Robinhood, your play for the win, not just on game day, every day, locking in on every opening, beating your PR, beating it again. Channel that drive into your money. Robinhood puts you in control of your money. Trade stocks and EFTs, options, futures, and crypto all on one platform. You can build and execute your own trades from a desktop with Robinhood Legends Advanced Tools, or take advantage of the new Robinhood Strategies with a tailored portfolio managed by a team of experts. You expect more from yourself, expect more from your money. Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Again, that's Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move. Today's episode is also brought to you by DoorDash. The NBA season is heating up, and DoorDash has found the perfect way to keep fans in their bag all season long. Whether you're watching for the highlights of your fantasy team or just your favorite player, DoorDash makes every game night even better. DoorDash is the official on-demand delivery platform of the NBA, and they're celebrating with something called the Bag Drop. Every time an NBA player scores 50 points in a game, like Luka Doncic, who I think is averaging 50, maybe 45, or somewhere around that range, or SGA, who just dropped 50 not too long ago, DoorDash drops 50% off your order with Dash Pass the next day, and you're automatically entered for a chance to win the ultimate fan bag. We're talking player-inspired drip, exclusive gear, and stuff you actually want. DoorDash has you covered for all of the late-night highlights, last-minute watch parties, and double OT fuel-ups. So next time someone goes off for 50, maybe potentially against the Wizards, use promo code NBA50 the next day to get 50% off on DoorDash with Dash Pass, plus your shot at the bag drop. Dash Pass members only 50% off up to $10 a day after a 50-point game with promo code. Terms apply. No purchase necessary. It ends April 13th. Open to U.S. residents 21 or older. Visit DoorDashInYourBag.com for full details. DoorDash, in your bag all season long. Sorry about that, guys. Technical difficulties there. Okay, I'm back. I'm by myself. Single show today. No Ben Schrober. He's out there reminiscing about the loss, or hopefully he's whatever Ben's doing. I'm hoping he's doing well, because his Terps lost by 40 plus points today against the I was at Indiana. Today we're talking about the loss against Orlando Magic, and this team falls to 1-5. I'm Abdullah Ayubi here on Locked On Wizards. Thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing to the channel. Please make sure you are turning on post notifications. So we are now 1-5 after 6 games, and you have New York coming up, and it begs the question: will this game tonight, where you're competitive in the first quarter, but in the second quarter, third quarter, and fourth? I mean, I'll look at the numbers right now. But Orlando scored 43 in the second quarter. Washington scored 21. Orlando scored 28 in the third. Washington scored 19. In the fourth, it was basically over. Orlando scored 22. Washington scored 19. And the biggest lead for Orlando was 31. I really want to emphasize that this Wizards team, at some point from the coaching staff, is it lip service when they're telling us that they're going to be competing every night? I don't want to. I try not to give you guys false hope because I'm trying to be realistic. As much as I want to be an optimistic fan, I also try to be a realist. Will today's game be a common theme? I'm hoping not. I understand that we want to keep our first round pick, which I think we will. But when will we be competitive? That's the word. That's the C word. That's what we're always talking about. This Orlando Magic team, I'm gonna say it again. They're not the freaking who's the best team in the Eastern Conference right now. I mean, like they're not like the high end Eastern Conference teams, the Cavs, the Knicks, which are going to match up again soon on Monday. They're a team that was going to this game was 2-4. I'm not saying that they suck. They're scrubs. However, you saw the record, and you don't think you weren't going to be competitive with them. I understand trusting the process, but if we see the same product and we're not seeing any different results on the court, at what point do Wizards fans start to question what's happening with this regime? I'm going to start looking at comments now, guys, because I'm struggling. Ben's the one usually carrying me. What's up, Choi Riz Zero? Came here to cope with my trauma from watching that. I completely agree. I'm available for GM. Oh, can't put that on, but yeah, not a big fan of Ted from that comment. The Wizards need 3 point guards and 2 more bigs. Yeah, tonight, Bob Carrington really inefficient. I think it's too soon to be concerned about year 2 Bub, because this role that he's been given of trying to be that point guard here, but now is on 6-man. I still have faith in Bub Carrington being a productive player here in Washington. Is there a possibility where the point guard position might not be his? I think so. I think a lot of fans are starting to realize that maybe he's not built for it and that he's more suited for the combo guard role. And many fans like me and Linnell Willingham want Darren Peterson in the 2026 draft. That's if you somehow land a top 3 pick, which I'm crossing my fingers there. Shout out to Locked On Law, always locked on to Locked On Wizards. There is absolutely nothing you can point to in that game and say that this team is developing anyway. That's fair. That is fair, Law. I think tonight it wasn't it for our Wiz kids. A real would be. That's a fair point. President by amendment, thank you for your comment. I don't think it's too soon, or I think it's a little too soon to question what Will Dawkins has done, because the situation that he was dealt with when he became GM. I mean, that Bradley Beal contract, getting rid of that, and essentially winning the trade. I think we won the trade, even though we really haven't won anything as a team. I think down the line we won the trade with all the pick swaps. It comes down to how we go in the lottery this year, and I'm hoping that the lottery odds are in our favor, and they really aren't ever in our. SGA is not walking to the Wizards. So we're building a loop. Don't catch. Yeah, what rebuild is done when everyone is 21. Yeah, I agree. The team is still young, so we gotta trust the process somehow. Yep, some sides of life thought we were getting there. Yeah. You cannot expect a team of 21 to be Orlando or 7 in terms of betting odds. Oh, I answered this earlier, but hopefully you understand. The optimism is a commitment to tanking or next year losses. Can't expect the GM to not have it income. The problem is the lineups. Let me ask you guys this. What is your ideal lineup? And I think we're going to make a video about this, me and Ben. What is your ideal lineup for this Washington Wizards squad right now? What's your thoughts after 6 games? How would you evaluate Cam Whitmore's play? Do you think he's given a fair shot here in Washington? I'm happy that Bilal's back. I'm hoping that he takes that year 3 jump offensively. Tonight wasn't his best of nights, but he was still getting active defensively. But could this idea of the Wizards not having a true pure point guard here affect a lot of these young guys' development, like the big 3 here, or the big 3 of the 2024 draft class, and Keyshawn, Alex, and Bub, or Trey Johnson? Because you need someone that can be able to set him up, especially if he's coming off down screens or just running throughout the half court. This is what happens. They're not. I agree, John. This team, they're not there yet. We're hoping that they're inching closer day by day. Let me read some more comments when we come back here on Locked On Wizards. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you miss the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Thank you guys for being patient with me here on Locked On Wizards. Had some technical difficulties. Like I mentioned, Ben is out somewhere. And the Wizards fall to 1-5, heading to New York on Monday. And this New York Knicks team, they're looking pretty good. OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, Josh Hart, Jalen Brunson. The Wizards are going to have a handful to deal with on Monday. But going back to some of these comments, Trey Johnson needs to start over Carrington, CJ, let him loose. But see if we do, then best wrong this team wants to, but the GM doesn't. Yeah, I think Trey Johnson, I think he deserves to start. I think Chris Middleton and CJ McCollum, at least one of them won't be here post-trade deadline. Honestly, I wonder what can you get for them at this point. We will not be winning games until they stop trying to make Alex Sarr 5. So not a fan of Alex Sarr playing the 5. Interesting. The Wizards need a 60-year younger version of me playing center. I like that. Locked on. I like that. I don't see the rebound. We don't have a legit point guard. Our defense is really bad again this year. Yeah. I mean, again, this whole offseason, it was about we're going to play fast. We're going to be competitive. We're going to play defense. Haven't seen that so far. Tonight, that wasn't the case. Some of these games, it's like you're in there, but Wemby next to Sarr is my ideal lineup. Trust me, that's everyone's ideal lineup, having Wemby in their starting lineup. The Nationals are ahead of the Wizards. The Nats just hired a young GM, so we'll see how that goes. A new front office has been here for 2-3 years. Give me a break. Yeah, JH, thank you for commenting. That's a good point. Got to give it some time. Nomadic Brian, shout out to you, Brian. Hope you're doing well on this Saturday night. Thank you guys, 42 of you guys in here. Make sure you like, commenting, and subscribing. Thank you guys. You guys could be doing anything on a Saturday night, but here you are venting and listening to me talk about our beloved Washington Wizards. When you think of how many years since beating Seattle, hard to believe. Seattle. Oh, I think Brian is talking about the Commanders. Hopefully we win tomorrow. Let me know if that's what you're talking about, Brian. As long as we keep our 26th first round pick. Yep. I just saw a video how Ryan Reynolds might be a star that doesn't know what a point guard. Yeah. I mean, last year you had Jordan Poole take over that role, which at times it was fun to watch, but at times it was like, this ain't it. And right now the Pelicans are in a bad situation. Not because of Jordan Poole, rather, but they haven't won a game, and they don't have their first round pick next year is unprotected. So at least we're not in that position. People within Darren Peterson's answer that the point guard doesn't know shit either. I mean, I'm a big fan of his game. I also love DeBonza. So the point guard position is going to be a topic that's going to be talked about a lot here for the next couple of months. Riley, Trey, Bilal, Keyshawn, Sarr. I love what I've seen from Will Riley early on. I'm happy that he's gotten minutes early on in the season because Ben and I talked about how we didn't really think much of him, at least for the first half of the season. We thought it would be more rolling with the Capital City Go-Go, but it's good to see some flashes from him. I really want Will Dawkins to be more aggressive in the draft. Make a trade to get 2 high lottery draft picks. I still have faith in Will. I think only Cam Boozer. Yep, Cam Boozer, Darren Peterson, AJ DeBonza, Nathan met a lot of really good options that the Wizards could go with in this upcoming draft class. Peterson next to Trey Johnson is two of the same player. Fair point. Chris and CJ will likely be bought out before season ends. Sawyer, thank you for liking, commenting, and subbing. I mean, at this point, have they done? Because it's funny because going into the season, the idea of CJ and Chris were they were going to be the guys that if this team's in a tight game or if this young squad can't buy a shot, they're going to be the ones that can end that scoring drought. But honestly, it seems like it's the opposite of that. AJ, the AJ fan club, I'm pretty sure was happy tonight. He scored. He got in the game, so I think that was awesome. I think they should start Kent Whitmore. Let me ask you guys this. Watching Kent Whitmore, do you think he fits what the Wizards are trying to build here in D.C.? Because I've seen on social media, and I'm not saying this is true, but at times where he just plays selfish ball, and anytime he brings up the ball, he's just shooting it or taking it on his own way. He's like a running back in football, just my way or the highway. And I like the attitude from Cam. And I really want him to build or find a home here in D.C. because he's just so talented. Sawyer's not a big fan of him. As Memphis for John exchange for Bud and CJ, maybe they'll. Speaking of that, John Morant, who just got suspended by the Memphis Grizzlies for comments that he made after, I think it was his worst performance as a professional against the Lakers, he's, in my opinion, going to be traded. I think the Grizzlies have had enough of him. Hopefully, I mean, again, I don't think the Wizards have a shot at landing him, but there is a possibility he will get traded. Whitmore never saw a shot he didn't like. Cancer statue. That's a fair point, Sawyer. I mean, I know fans will say that he doesn't seem like the greatest when it comes to being aggressive or finding. Sorry, my little cousin just came in the room. He kind of threw me off. What are we talking about? Cam Whitmore. I think he'll be just fine. I'm hoping that he carves the role here in D.C. Ja will be miserable on this team. Man. Cam can be a black hole at times once the ball touches his hands. Mental Edge, thank you for liking. I'm going to stop saying that. Thank you for commenting. I agree with you. I think Cam Whitmore, there are times where it's like Cam, you're playing 1-on-5 here, but I still think he's a very talented player. What do we do with 2 max spots? If we get 2 stars plus a top over this next season. Yeah, I think next year, guys, and I'm going to wrap it up with this. I think next year there is no asterisk when it comes to that season. We better see this team win at least 30 games. You want to see competitive basketball. You can't be losing every night or be out of the game by the end of the half. By the end of the second quarter is the end of half. But New York coming up, guys. Let me know your thoughts on being 1-5. Can this Wizards team somehow carve out 20 wins this season? The whole team doesn't move the ball enough. Yep, that's a good point, Joe. That's a good point. Thank you guys for being patient with me. I know tonight was pretty rough because Ben is the one carrying me, but you guys are listening to me here on Saturday, November 1st. Hope you guys had a great Halloween. I didn't really do much. I was staying home. I figured a 22-year-old has to hang up the cleats when it comes to going trick-or-treating, but hopefully you guys had great candy. Hopefully not too many cavities. And with that being said, thank you for making Locked On your first listen every day. For your second listen, go find Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Josh Lloyd hosts the #1 fantasy basketball podcast, giving you daily tips and helping you win your league while making you a smarter NBA fan. Find Locked On Fantasy Basketball on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. The Wizards fall to 1-5, but they have the ability to bounce back against the Knicks. They played the Knicks. The last time they played the Knicks, it was preseason. They did a pretty good job. So we will see. I'm Abdullah Ayubi, signing out.